So welcome everyone to this very short session and probably very productive session onto what are various career roles and development path for people who are into AI and ML. This is one of those topics where I would try that I can come up and share some knowledge with all of you which can help you into so many things, primarily into landing and getting an appropriate job. Second thing is deciding what career options are suitable for you, what you should apply for, what is not suitable for you. That is also very important thing that we are going to see. Another tangent that we are going to touch on is how we can be ready for those certifications, whether it is via certification or it is via applied skills or it is via courses or it is via polishing our LinkedIn. How we can be ready for those roles, how we can target those job roles and land into those jobs. First thing first, what is the job market for AI ML is looking like? So a short answer, it is huge, huge. From around 2020, 21, 22, when generative AI started kicking in, when ChatGPT and other products became very popular, now we have AI everywhere. I am a trainer. I interact with a lot of clients, a lot of organizations. When they come up and say, hey, we want to learn AI, most of the time, 60-70% of the clients are referring to only generative AI. When they say we want to learn AI, what they mean is we want to learn LLM, small language models, large language models, fine tuning, prompt engineering. They are not even referring to traditional machine learning or neural networks as AI. So, generative AI has actually unlocked a very different size of audience, which was not true earlier. And the capabilities are also huge. Then on the top of that, because the industry is growing so much, we have government organizations and NGOs and various other activities which are floating around ethics of AI, responsible AI, explainable AI. Compliances are coming in. I live in one country, the model that I use is from another country. Let's say you're living in South Africa. Okay, and now you are leveraging, let's say, ChatGPT, which is hosted in US. So you are doing a data sharing across the globe, across border. There are so many compliances which are applicable on these cross-border data exchange. So that is the ethics part of AI. Then a lot of automation, whether you're running a hospital or a manufacturing unit or a customer service, there is a huge scope of implementing AI into simple things like attendance management, patient management, record management, all the way till complex things like budget planning, finance automation, fraud analysis, etc., etc. See, I'm not here to today to teach you AI. You are already aware of it. You're already taking classes on that probably. A different type of AI classes like Azure AI or AWS AI or some other vendor, some other course. I am not here to teach you what is AI. I'm primarily focused on how the market today is looking like, how you can enter into that market. If you are already in that market, how you can make sure that you are in the right slab. You're not very much above or below than where you should be. You're targeting the right industries. So I have compiled a power slide, right? Most of the slides here are given to me by team. I have refined them, but then I have compiled this one slide, which I would be spending some time on. And this is, I think, the most important slide as for me for this whole course, this whole 1 hour interaction. You could be at different stages of your life, right? I'm very sure that I'm talking to people who are not just 20-year-old. You could be an entry level person who's just passed out of a college. But most of the people when I talk to in K21 are somewhere in midway to a very experienced position, 35 years, 40 years of age, as well as 55, 60 years of age. And with age comes your experience. And I'm not referring to your AI experience. I understand you are very new to AI. You're probably learning, this is your first course or maybe second course. This is probably your first or second certification. You have never worked on AI, but you have worked onto something, maybe healthcare, maybe drug discovery, maybe banking, maybe finance. Now, if you're a 40-year-old, it's not fair for you to compete with a 20-year-old who's just a college pass out. If you have same amount of AI knowledge, what you have is an additional 15, 20 year of working experience and domain expertise. So what type of job roles exist for people across this spectrum? Let's start with left hand side. Imagine you're a college pass out, which I am very sure that most of you are not. But let's say you're just a college pass out, maybe 1, 2 year of experience, or did some internships, and that's it. You have no working experience, no business experience, no job in any industry. Then what you can work with, the job roles look like AI business analyst, where you are primarily going to work with business data and make reports and dashboards and automate that. Or junior AI product associate, and maybe AI product associate. Again, the terms can vary across companies, right? You can work in AI support. So, chat support, maybe some sort of customer support. You can also help people and company in implementation. And then one new, very different type of industry, which I sometimes fail to understand is an industry in its own, but it is prompt engineering. You can be a prompt engineer, where your task will be to understand the designing of a prompt, just like you design a car or a mobile or a software, and you would be responsible to design a whole prompt catalog for your organization, which people can use. Your staff member, your testing engineer, your development engineer, your design engineers can use. Now imagine you have, let's say, 5, 6 years, 10 years of working experience onto one domain, and now you want to shift to AI. Let's say you worked in bank, or you worked in transportation, or you worked in supply chain. So can you become a senior data scientist? Maybe no, because that comes with a lot of experience in AI. What I'm referring to is that you have experience in a different domain. What you can target to become is here. These are just 4 points, and of course, you can get more of them. One is applied AI specialist. So, what is that? When you work with AI, imagine I'm working as an AI engineer in Tesla. So, Tesla must be having an AI department for sure, but Tesla must also be having a law department, traffic law department basically, where they are understanding all the traffic laws. They also must be having a car designing department because at last what they are designing is a car. They also must be having a charging and EV battery department. So you can come up with that experience and say, hey, I have a lot of knowledge of banking. I can be a banking specialist for your AI. The AI algorithm will do what people will train them on. I have some experience with AI. I can develop an algorithm, but I don't know what a bank needs. So you are the banking expert, you are the domain expert, and you will sit with me and we both will produce something magical. You will bring in the banking knowledge, I will bring in the AI knowledge, and that's where the magic will happen. You can be a solution consultant. So whenever we develop any product, whether it is a software or a game or anything, we do need a whole solution around it. So, for example, I am designing, let's say, a pen. So, I need to know how the pen will be marketed. What is my target audience? How will I package it? How will I sell it? How will I design it? What material will be used? Etc. etc. Same thing for a software. Where will it be published? How will it be published? Now, this is something that a college pass out cannot do because you do not have the real world customer understanding, experience of working with people. That comes with time. So you can leverage your experience here. You can be a product manager. Same theory. As a product manager, even if I am managing 50 people who are experts in AI, but they are young, they do not have the idea of customers who are going to be 50, 60-year old, how a 50-year-old person is going to behave with their product. You can make a great product, but you may not have a great idea on how to manage that product, how to scope that product, how to sell that product, how to package that product. how to get budget approval from the CEO of your company because you are just very young to do that. That's where product manager comes in. And of course, product management is a big thing. PMP is a great certification around that. Project management, product management. You should look at that. And if you have understanding of AI, limited understanding, but you have a great understanding of your domain, you can be a product manager. Very similarly, you can be data scientist, but with a focus on your domain. Now you know how to analyze data. You can leverage tools which can be like AutoML tools or cloud hosted tools or any other form of tools, maybe even Excel, Microsoft Excel, as simple as that, or Power BI or Google Looker, Tableau. And you can work on your domain data. You can say, hey, I am a sales specialist. I have spent 15 years of my life doing sales. You give me all your sales data. I will tell you what is going to be your projected sales in the future, which a 22-year-old AI data scientist can also do. But the person will not understand the micro nuances in sales the way you can understand it. Right? That person will only leverage tools and technology. You will leverage tools plus technologies plus your own brain, which has been trained on sales so much. Now, fast forward to people who are even more experienced and are standing at executive level. There are many other job roles which are different from entry level or mid level job roles, which I have mentioned here. So, first of them is AI transformation lead. There are many organizations across the globe which are going through transformation. As a trainer, I can confirm that because I am taking care of a lot of batches where customers come and say, hey, we want to transform to become an AI ready organization. How do we do that? So I just teach them. I don't take care of that thing for them. I just teach them the topic. Somebody is needed in the company, like a consultant, who will take care of the transformation. Now, imagine a college pass out who is a great AI data scientist, AI developer, data scientist, machine learning engineer, whatever you want to call it. The person cannot take up a project of transforming the whole organization where 500 people are working. You need an executive level person for that job role who need not to code AI on Python, who just need to understand what is AI, understand the implications of it, understand the laws behind it, and monitor and work with a team of 500 people to make that change happen across the organization. Similarly, you can be head of AI enablement. There are organizations which are not using AI at all. You can enable the organization with AI. You can establish center of excellence and be the lead of that, or the company can appoint you as the lead of that. Strategy consultant. And at CXO, just like we have CFO, CROs, CEOs, COOs, we also have CAIO, Chief AI Officer, which an executive level person can apply for and can take up a job role. A very important line written at bottom that if you are entering AI lately, I shouldn't even use the word lately, and I'm not using it in any wrong way. Your experience with whatever domain will be very helpful. You're choosing to pivot to AI. You do not need to compete with fresh graduates, people who are fresh graduates. So, for example, in about me in this list, I stand at mid level. So, even if my whole career was around AI, as of today, I am not a suitable candidate to become a chief AI officer because I don't know how to manage 500 people in a company. So that is where somebody who is 15-year older to me have a great amount of people management, team management, leadership experience, who has been a CEO or CFO or CXO of any other company on any other domain, maybe a detergent selling company, doesn't matter. But where you have managed 100 plus people, that experience will be helpful for you to become a chief AI officer, and that person can be a better CAIO than me, where I have spent around 15 years only into AI. But age, experience will be very important. And you will be winning by combining your domain depth along with your knowledge of AI. I am not at all saying that your knowledge of AI is not needed. What I am saying is your knowledge of AI can be combined with your knowledge of your domain. Be very, very watchful of that. Make sure that you do not think that I have wasted my 10 years into sales, marketing, product, manufacturing, whatever you were doing, and I am equal to a 22-year-old. No, you are not. You have learned so much. Maybe you're not going to work in the same company, but you have learned how to talk, how to work with people, how to manage people, what complications comes up. The people behavior skill, which can only be learned, cannot be taught. I cannot teach you that. I cannot teach you how 100 people will react when you will say your salary will be delayed by 1 month. You can only learn it by working into different companies in any domain. All right, so this is one of my power slide. Now we'll move on with rest of the content as well, which is equally important. Um, there are many people here who are actively must be looking for job and they are finding challenges. So what kind of challenges they are probably getting into? They may come across the feedback that, hey, I have lack of experience, consistency issues, limited skills or limited hands-on knowledge, competition, lack of professional network. Why I am highlighting these points? If these are the challenges you are facing, then you absolutely have an idea of what problem you have to solve. If you are, let's say, a 50-year-old person who is standing between mid-level to executive level and you are facing problem of lack of hands-on knowledge, then probably you are targeting a wrong job role. I am not expecting a chief AI officer or a product manager to sit on my laptop and tell me how to make a linear regression algorithm. No, I am expecting that person to understand the implication of using a linear regression algorithm with customers, with employees, with stakeholders, with investors, etc. Right? So we need to be very sure where we are working. Lack of professional network, work on your LinkedIn, work on your resume, go and interact with people. There are so many, what do we call it, conferences which happens across the globe. If you are in one of the IT friendly city in your country, I'm sure you are exposed to so many conferences, meetings. If you see that they are not happening, that's okay. You go to LinkedIn and you connect with people. You talk to them, you build relationships with them. Try to understand how you can add on value to their life, to their company. Lack of experience. So, if you are at any particular age slab slash experience slab, and you are targeting a job role which is much higher than that, then of course, as I said, that I am not a suitable candidate for a chief AI officer. I have lesser experience than it is required for that particular job role. I feel so. Even if a company comes up and say we are looking for a 5-year experience candidate, I may not want to apply because I think 5 years is very less for that type of job role. If you are applying for a job role of let's say product associate where you are standing at mid level but you are working on a different domain, then the company is expecting you to have a detailed hands-on experience onto Python, onto AI, but you have experience of selling a product or marketing a product. Again, you're in a different job role. So most likely your challenge is not that you have less skills uh, or you have less experience, etc. It's most likely the fact that you are trying to apply for a job role which is not in line with your profile. This is one important thing that I want you to look at. And if you come from a particular industry, like you have been working in sales or retail or marketing or manufacturing or any of them, I have some content to talk about how AI can be leveraged across different industries. So whether it is product and service enhancement, there are many job opportunities around that. Chatbot trainers, customer experience analyst, AI customer support agent, many more. Prompt engineering can also fit in here. If you have some experience with healthcare and life sciences, let's say you have been working in a pharmacy or your education is from the medical and pharmacy domain, you can be a domain specialist in AI in that industry. There are so many applications of AI into pharma and healthcare, and of course, along with needing technology students, technology learners, they must need experts in the domain. You can be the expert in the domain with understanding of AI. So you can come up and say that, hey, with drug discovery, we can use that type of categorization algorithm. And then somebody who is an AI expert who have been spending 5 years into AI can implement that type of categorization algorithm, right? But the person may not understand the domain to decide what to implement. Similarly, we have a lot of job roles which are open in the domain of e-commerce and retail, whether it is marketing, whether it is recommendation engine. You see that Amazon's and Walmart of the world, they are leveraging a big amount of recommendation systems, and you can be a part of that team. Chatbot, logistic optimization. There's so much of prediction which is happening across the globe. Fintech or financial technology, it's completely changing. I live in India. The way banks interact with me today is very different from what it used to be maybe 10 years back. Right? Opening up a bank account used to be a 4 to 5 days of task, and now it's a 4 to 5 minutes of task from my home. I don't need to go anywhere. That is fintech. That is where fintech is coming in. Now, when we are increasing the scale and speed, we need automation. We need AI to do so many things. As simple as I am uploading my document and then somebody is needing to validate the document, which we call as KYC. So instead of humans doing that, we need AI doing that. So as an AI developer, I can develop an algorithm which can match your passport with the details that you have filled, but or extract details from your passport right away. But then somebody from banking needs to come up and say, hey, we don't want the passport number, but we want the address, or we want this and this data to be stored for 3 months and this data to be stored for 6 months. That I don't know because I am not from banking. I can develop an algorithm. That's where domain expert and domain expertise will come in. Now, how do you approach these job roles and how do you prepare yourself for these job roles? So, one very important factor is continuous learning. At whatever age slash experience you are at, whatever learning you have developed, there is so much more to learn. And I'm glad that a lot of you have made up to this session, which is also one form of learning. There's so much to learn, and then there is so much to acquire, which we call as certification. So I have bunch of certification listed here, which you can try targeting and taking up in the near future. From AWS, I have listed down four of them, starting from cloud practitioner to AI practitioner to machine learning engineer associate, generative AI developer professional. We also have machine learning specialty, which is a little tough. Again, depending on what is your experience with machine learning, you can take appropriate certification. Similarly, we also have Azure certifications, which is AI 900, AI 102, DP 100, AZ 900. If you want to expand more, DP 600, DP 700. So the list is huge. Like Microsoft has around 50 plus certifications as of today. Now imagine you're standing at a place where you're realizing that these certifications are very tough for me, and I am not expert in all the five areas of AI 102 or all the five areas of AI 900. No problem. You can take up one specific skill, and these certifications are paid as well. So you can look forward and acquire something called as an applied skill. I'm writing down here. And this is only in Azure. I don't think so there is an equivalent of this in AWS or Google Cloud. So applied skills specifically focus on one area. If you think you are an expert in that area, you can take up an applied skill, which is free. It's a very simpler exam and it gives you a badge. It reflects that, hey, you have this skill. It may not be a very broad skill. Certifications, on the other hand, are very broad. For example, AI 102 will talk about NLP, will talk about computer vision, will talk about what else? Document analysis, agents, etc. But if you think I know agents, I don't know anything else, then you can take an agent-oriented applied skill. There are many. But again, which one is more valuable? So no doubt certification. Certificate is paid, certification is broad, certifications are more valid, more acceptable, but applied skill is again better than nothing. If you are not fit for certification yet, please acquire applied skill. Then, how can K21 help you in that? So, for AWS and Azure, there are many projects along with the learning. Of course, you are in one or the other course. That course probably is towards the start, towards the middle, towards the end. I don't know. You can be from different courses. But along with that, you have various projects which you can work with. So here are some of the projects on AWS. You can get this link from team anytime. There are 14 projects which are listed here, and there would be more on school platform. Similarly, there are many projects on Azure which you can try and work on, and that will give you the hands-on knowledge, which probably is one of the challenge that you are facing with your job role. Now, this was all the discussion for people who are entering into AI from different industries, whether it is mid-level, executive level, or entry level. How do you learn? How do you certify? There could be a few people here who are already an expert in AI, right? Who can come up and say that, hey, I have been working on AI from 5 years. I have developed 50 projects, and here is my LinkedIn. I have published 2 research papers. What do I do now? So again, if you have spent that much of time, I'm sure you already know what to do next because AI is huge, really huge. But as my responsibility, I have listed down here a few points which you can consider working on, which I'm referring to modern trends. And again, these are not for people who are still learning what is regression, what is classification, and developing experience on that. No. Once you have done all of that, you should consider where today's version of AI is heading. So there is so much discussion on federated learning. What is federated learning in like a one, two line of description? You should study this. What is federated learning? How can we train an AI model where the data is not at my location but at client's location? So for example, hospitals. It's very tough to get data from hospitals. There are a lot of laws and compliances which restrict them from sharing their data. And let's say there are 50 hospitals, they have their own set of data. Can I train my algorithm in such a way that it is getting trained at those 50 locations, not at my location? So what I get towards the end is the model, but not data. I will never be able to see the data, but I can extract learnings from the data and make a model. Could be a regression model, could be a classification model, any type of neural network. Now, what is edge AI? Once we have the model trained in whatever way, simpler way, federated way, whatever way, how can we deliver that model very, very close to the end user? So in today's time, you see a lot of smart CCTV cameras. Those CCTV cameras have an AI model running on them which can decide, hey, this is a person and this is not a person. It's not sending the whole image to a server which is deciding. The camera itself is taking the call. Another example of edge AI is mobile optimized AI. Your mobile phone has a lot of AI algorithms in that. So how can we optimize AI algorithms to fit in mobile, to fit in Android or Apple iOS? Traditional models can also work, but then they are a little heavy. So we need to optimize them dedicatedly for mobile, and there are technologies for that. And then, as I said earlier, responsible AI, explainable AI is also kicking in. Nowadays, organizations don't just want a model to work, they also want to know how that model is working. What factor is deciding, uh, or is the most important factor? Like if you have 10 parameters and then you are saying, hey, this person is not diabetic. How are you saying that? Which column? Is it blood pressure? Is it calorie intake? Is it something else, which is the most important factor in deciding this person is diabetic or not? So that is explainable AI, an approach, an attempt to understand how these AI algorithms are working, what type of change in input will lead to what type of change in output. So a little bit of explanation around that. It's not concrete, but it's a very good, like the technology is little advanced to understand how they are working. It's not still 100% correct as of yet. With that note, some of the last discussions, how do you solve various problems that you are facing right now? So first thing you should do is build a portfolio if that is your problem. If you're going to interviews and you're getting an answer that hey, we are not convinced with your profile, or if you're applying for a job role and you are not getting a call for interview, that means your resume got rejected. You need to strengthen your resume more. You need to showcase more as your portfolio. Improve your LinkedIn profile, improve your GitHub. Refer that GitHub link in your resume. If you can, again, this is not mentioned in the slide, but if you can, I am a very camera shy person. I am very okay with live trainings, which I do. That's my profession. But ironically, if you tell me that, hey, can you record me a 1 minute video for YouTube? I need to take 10 attempts for that. I'm that shy. So it's not very suitable for me, and that's very bad of mine. But for you, if you are fine, start creating some content. Put it on LinkedIn, put it on YouTube, put it on Instagram. Don't worry about whether it will get viral or not, but you may get some support on your job resume screening with that. If you put a link on your resume that hey, I am a YouTuber, I have put on 500 short videos on software development, then the interviewer itself is convinced that this person must be confident on the topic. And if you're speaking good, half of your interview is done before you enter into the room. Again, it's not a sure short way, but it is one of the very effective way. Feel confidence in your technology and exhibit that confidence via multiple ways. If you can, conduct some workshops. Click pictures of those workshops, maybe a school audience workshop or a college audience workshop, and put it on your resume that, hey, I have been teaching AI. This is what I do in my free time. I make money with it or I don't make money with it. That's your call. But this is what I do. So you can actually exhibit that this is my passion. I'm very passionate about it. But again, you need to figure out what works for you. As I said, video making is not my skill. It could be yours. There are so many YouTubers across the globe, but I am not one of them. Workshop conducting is my skill. I'm a very social person, so I do approach 50 people on LinkedIn, 10 of them show up when we sit in a cafe, we have a cup of coffee and we discuss AI. This is what I do usually. You can also do that. But that will also help you in networking. There are a lot of job boards. I'm sure you're aware of that. LinkedIn, Glassdoor, AngelList, many more. Indeed. Again, depends on which country you live in. There can be some brands which are specific to that country. Figure out them, apply for the job there. There's so much content on how to be better in interview. I don't know how many of you need that tip, but if you think you need some assistance in interview giving as a skill, work on that. It's a craft. It can be better and better. There is no like no matter how many successful interviews you have given, if you consume more content on that, you will actually improve that. You will never degrade it. It'll take time, but if you think that most of my interviews have been bad, that means you need to work more on that. So your delta of learning in that will be very, very high. Finally, although we have covered that across different slides, but still one last discussion. If you're from a non-technical background and you're transiting to a technical role, it is very tough for you to convince your interviewer that, hey, I have arrived. I have already learned what you want, even though I have been working in a different company or a different type of company. So for you to strengthen that or improve your convincing power, add a certification. You can come up and say that, hey, you know what? I have already learned AWS AI and you don't trust me? See this certification. AWS has given me this. And these are really tough certification, honestly. When I say tough, I mean that you cannot just randomly get ready and deliver a certificate and exam and then get a certificate. No, most likely you will fail in that if you don't prepare for it. Today, also, I give a lot of certifications. I start like try to collect them as much as I can and work on it and learn for it. But even today, I find many of the certification exams to be really, really tough. When I'm expanding out of my domain, it's really tough. So when you come up and say that, hey, I have the certification, it speaks a lot about your learning abilities and your understanding of the topic. Again, it depends. Is it a foundational certification or a specialty certification? The spectrum is huge, but any certification is depicting so much at that level.